What I got here is another heat press. It's provided to me by a company called Viarrtco to demonstrate and test, and that's what we're going to do here. This is a clamshell type press. I have two other swing away type presses. One's a Tussie and the other is a Viarrtco, and they have performed just fine. And we're going to get into this clamshell press here. I should also add that I have recently bought a big commercial heat press that there'll be a video coming up on if you're in the commercial end of it. But we're going to get onto this coming up. I'm Roger, welcome to the shop, although it is quite a bit messy because we are really busy this time of year with projects that go out and shipping and all this and that. And what this company called Viarrtco asked me if I would be interested in demonstrating and testing their heat press. As I mentioned in the beginning here, this is a clamshell type press. It does not the swing away, and I believe this is a 15 by 15. I haven't opened it up yet. That's what we're going to get into here. We're going to open this puppy up and see what we got to do with it. We got styrofoam. And this is going to be interesting getting this out of this box. Maybe we'll just cut the box apart. Now we'll get this guy out of the styrofoam here. Any parts and pieces around. There's a handle that's going to need to be mounted. Comes with the hardware. This is somewhat heavy. It's not as heavy as my new HPN press because it's well over 100 pounds. Oh, it comes with some Teflon sheets here. And there is a user manual. I'll get this all unwrapped here and get the packing off of it and come back to see what we need to assemble. Okay, got this all out of the package and I got a setting here. As always, when I do a review of something that has been supplied to me to test and review, I am unbiased and honest about it. So if there's any cons, I'll point them out. And the one I'm going to point out right away is that this does not have any type of protective feed on it. So if you put this on a surface like I did on my MDF top of my table here, and you move it, it will scratch it. So I have a setting on a piece of cardboard now, so there's something to keep in mind. There's no feed on here. There are holes where you could possibly put some rubber feed on it, or bolt it down to a bench or a piece of plywood or something like that. But just something to be aware of. So if you unbox this and put it on your dining room table and you give it a slide, you're going to have some scratches. Fair warning. The other thing is the user manual. It's very brief. It doesn't go into much detail. I'm very experienced with using heat presses, so it's kind of a no-brainer for me. But just something you need to be aware of. There's not a whole lot of information here, and I'll try to point out a lot of the things as we go here as I demonstrate this. Okay, the handle that comes with it, right here. It doesn't really say where it goes, but it goes right here. So you'll have something to grip when you're gripping this. And it comes with some bolts and washers, and you'll need a alien wrench, that's an Allen wrench, of 5 M&Ms. That'll fit that. So I'll get this handle put on. I'll probably have to flip it up on its side to do it, because I'm not going to be a contortionist, but we'll get that part done, and then we'll get into plugging this thing in and get some settings on it. Okay, got the handle mounted on it here and everything, and we actually have it open right now. They do give you a Teflon sheet, which would be good to protect your plating on top here. And a neat way to do it is to just turn around here. I don't have any magnets right now, but if you get some magnets and stick them on the corners here for them magnets you could bet like at Harbor Freight or wherever, and that will protect your plating up here. There's a pad down here. You could also put one of these down there if you happen to have two of them. I use paper most of the time. On my other presses, I do have one of these Teflon sheets fast to the top with magnets. Okay, to set the pressure, you're going to have to kind of wing it here and figure out what you're going to need. Pressure adjustment is this knob right here. As you turn that clockwise down, it will increase the pressure on your project. And I got little styrofoam beads everywhere. Static electricity, great thing. So that is how you would set your pressure. Of course, it depends on your project and what you're doing. I'm going to be doing a couple of t-shirts here. So how do you set the temperature? Well, I'm going to bring you in close and show you that. The directions kind of tell you, but it may not be super clear to some people, so get the camera in close. I'll show you how we do it. Okay, to set the temperature and time, it's pretty simple. It does lay it out in the instruction manual, but it's pretty brief, so I'll do a little bit of a demonstration here. Switch on the side over here, you turn on. And the beeper's going to go off because we have no time on it, but you push, to set the temperature, you push set. This is in Fahrenheit. And I happen to have mine at 385 right now. I did a little bit of a test on this to make sure it would start up and run. If you wanted to go up, just hit the up buttons. You want to go down, hit the down buttons. If you hold it, it scrolls quicker. When you're done with the temperature, you press set again. Then your seconds will come up, and I'm going to be doing some t-shirts, so we're going to do 385 for 40 seconds. Whoop. So if you hold that too long, it'll really zip by there. And just hit set. And wait for it to warm up. Okay, something I just noticed after I unrolled this Teflon sheet is there is some oil spots on it that I don't know if that would transfer to my project or not, but I'm not going to take any chances. I don't know if that'll launder or what. I'll throw it in the wash and find out. Another question I get quite a bit on these heat presses is how long does it take for it to warm up? Well, I'm timing this one, and when it gets up to temperature, I'll give you a number and how many minutes it takes. And one other thing that I should mention while this is warming up is one of the things I like to do is to warm the plating as well. And this is a kind of a break-in period here, so we're going to find out if there's any type of manufacturing oils or anything on it. And I've already cleaned the upper plate and I wiped it down with Windex. So that's something you always want to do in case there's any oils on it. Like I said, there are some oil spots on that Teflon sheet, so I'm not going to use that. I've got some butcher paper here I'm going to use. So that's just a little bit of a preheat there. It's not up to full temperature yet, but you always want to preheat your pad. Especially if you're doing something like a sublimation under the bottom of glass where the artwork is on the bottom and you're sublimating it up through the vinyl and into the glass, and that is down. You want to make sure that your pad is preheated. Otherwise, your first project will always come up a little bit short. So we'll let this preheat here and I'll give you a time on it. Also, as this is heating up, I have a IR gun here, and I'm going to check the temperature across there and see how consistent it is across the plate in here on top. I just make little passes back and forth, a couple inches apart. Everything is very consistent. Actually clear out there to the edge. I'm impressed with that. And it's matching the digital readout up there perfectly. As you get towards the very back edge, it will drop off considerably. But that's, that's on the very, very back inch of it. You move up another inch and you're right back into the temperature range. So it looks to be pretty consistent. So what's my test project going to be here? Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to make a couple of shirts, and I'm not using HTV. This will be dye sublimation on the polyester t-shirts for my great-granddaughter. Yes, I'm that old. So I got a couple here of graphics I've made of baby sharks. They're both mirrored. That's important when you're doing sublimation, or even HTV, or you'll end up with your graphic backwards. So we're just about up to temperature here. Started out with a ambient temperature of 72 degrees. Was shooting for 385. It's now at 383, and that has taken 12 minutes. So, give you an idea there. Okay, if you've never done this before and you're new to sublimation on the shirts, they need to be 100% polyester, or at least 60% polyester, and the balance could be cotton. But you'll always get a better transfer if you're using 100% polyester. And one of the things you always want to do is pre-press your shirt. Doesn't have to be very long. You just want to get any moisture out and wrinkles out, and you don't need to lock it down. Just 10 seconds or so, that'll do it. Make sure everything's looking good there. And to find the center of a shirt, in case you've never done this, you can fold it lengthwise. Give it just a little light press, doesn't take much. That'll leave a crease so you can see the center point. And that's hot. That's one thing about a clamshell press as opposed to a swing away press. Got to be careful where you're putting your hand. Of course, you can also take this pad out and lay out your graphic, and then I may do that on the next one. So we need to get our graphic put in here, right in dead center. And I'll go down a couple inches here, get it square. Heat tape. Actually, I'm going to add something to this. I'm going to take a piece of butcher paper and put in between the layers of the shirt. The reason I'm doing that is in case the ink goes sublimates through too far, it'll actually go through onto the back, and we don't want that. I'll get this set up here, some paper inside. Get the graphic set back up here. And we're ready to press. 385 degrees for 40 seconds. Medium heavy pressure. And time is up. Pop this up. I'm just going to slide the pad out right here. Should have my heat gloves on, but I don't. And there is our shirt. Now I'll get this set up to do the other one. Okay, this one I'm going to lay out just a little bit different. I'm going to lay it out with the pad out here. And I've got my shirt laid out there. I need to do a little pre-press on it here. Make sure all the moisture's out of it. I'm going to pop this back off so I don't burn my finger again. Find the center. And just a quick little press up there by the collar. That'll leave me a line. And in this case, I'm going to be going horizontal. So I'm going to put my paper inside. A little bit of a challenge putting a large graphic on a small shirt like this. So I've got my center line. Get this over the paper there. Put it down just under the arms. And a little bit of heat tape. Keep it in place. Set in place there. $385, 40 seconds. This does beep when it's done. It's not real loud. It's just a constant tone, but it does make a beep sound. We'll open this back up. The paper off of there. Slide the pad back over here. There's our baby sharks. Perfect transfer. Really should have my heat gloves on, but I'm going to be kind of a badass today, I guess. Already burnt my finger on the top of the clamshell, so. Now, there's nothing on here, but this was a just in case. Anytime you're doing dye sublimation onto a shirt, always have something on the inside, because if the dye should go all the way through, it'll end up on the back of the shirt, and it'll show, believe me. There's the shirt. Great granddaughter will like that. So let me get the camera turned around here a little bit. How does it look? Think I could get away with going out like this? Yeah, probably not. You may have noticed there was a wardrobe change though. I had a different shirt on when I started this video. Had a little case of Project Interruptus where I had to go off and do something else, and then got filthy dirty. So had to shower and do a quick change to get back to this. So what's the difference between this type of heat press, which is what they call a clamshell? It just opens up like this, kind of like a clam. Must be where it got its name. The other type is like on my Tussie or my Vivor, it's a swing away, where the top swings out of the way. Disadvantages of a clamshell: if you stick your hand in there and you're not watching what you're doing, you'll burn your finger like this. And I knew better, and I should have gloves on. It's my fault. But with a swing away press, you lift the top and you swing the top out of the way. The disadvantage with a swing away is it takes up more real estate. It takes more space. The third type has a pull-out drawer. I have a great big HPN heat press that I bought, nobody gave to me. And it's 16 by 20, so I can do some big stuff with that for big people. And I'll be doing some videos on that here soon. But as far as the accuracy of this, I scanned the plating on it, and with the exception of the very, very bottom down here, the bottom inch, it's consistent all the way through, so I'm impressed with that. It's very, very easy to control. There again, the disadvantage I found was there's not a whole lot of information in here as far as times and temperatures, and if you're doing HTV or if you're doing, you know, dye sublimation on t-shirts like I just did. Could you use this for something else? Well, of course, you could do coasters, you could do mouse pads. All kinds of things you could do with this that you could pretty much do with a swing away heat press as well. You just have to watch where you put your hands. Another little disadvantage with this is it either needs to be screwed down to a board with some feet on it, or put some rubber feet on it, because as I showed at the beginning of the video here, the bottom of this is rough, and I slid it across this MDF surface on my saw tabletop here, and it scratched it. Scratched it pretty good. So keep that in mind when you unpack it. Don't set it right down on a nice surface or it will scratch it. Okay, some other thoughts on this. What can you use it for? As I mentioned, there's quite a few different projects you can use on it. Would I use this in a commercial setting? That's what we've been doing here. The heat press I've used for well over a year, and constant use as a Tussie. And it has performed fine, but it's not a commercial heat press. And there are spots on it it's starting to wear. It's, you know, if you're what I call a weekend warrior or a hobbyist and you're only going to do a few things a month or a week or whatever, yeah, this would be just fine. If you're going to be doing it commercially and, you know, like you're going to run a t-shirt shop, this probably will not last. I mean, it appears to be well made, but this is not something designed to be used, you know, for 12, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is a what I'm going to call a hobbyist type heat press. I also may have mispronounced the name. I think I pronounced it Viarrtco. It might be Viarrtco. It's spelled V-I-A-R-T, so I may have pronounced it wrong at the beginning. But otherwise, I'm happy with this, and I have some projects I'm going to use this on. And my granddaughter also does quite a bit of work with making t-shirts, so I'm going to let her have at this too. We'll be moving it up into the loft with the other heat presses and sublimation printers. I'm doing this down here today because, for a change, I have a flat surface without a bunch of crap sitting on it. So I had a nice open area. So with that said, if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. And if you want to get in touch with your inner self, try single ply toilet paper. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.